Hello and welcome to the Watermark Cooler. We've decided to switch things up today and do a panel discussion about UI UX. So we have the whole team here that we would include in anything UI UX related. So Marceline is on the development team, David's on the design team, and Aaron is on the digital team. So you guys wouldn't mind maybe introduce yourself real quick, Marceline?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, I'm Marceline. I am the lead developer here at Watermark, and I work primarily with anything that's on the web.
Yeah. David?
Hey, I'm David. I am the senior design manager here at Watermark.
Aaron?
Yeah, I'm Aaron. I lead digital strategy and analysis here at Watermark.
Cool. So as we're talking about UI UX, I know that those words tend to get blended together. UI UX, it's one statement. Is it one thing or is it two things?
I mean, it is two different things, but they're kind of dependent on one another. They don't work separate of each other. Like I normally touch on the UX side of things where you'll be actually dealing with the data, like
user experience. Just so we I want to make sure that these are UX user experience.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, the UX user experience is where the data is coming in and how you're structuring that and how that's going to work in the long run, as well as the things that go leading into it. But then it doesn't work without the UI side of things.
Right, which UI is user interface. And I mean, they are exactly what they are, right? A user interface, it's going to be more of what the user is seeing on the product. Let's just say a website, for example, which is going to include anything from colors to text and fonts to styling of options and things like that of design. So it's how the product looks, not just the journey of the UX.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look at it as coming into play with optimizing for campaigns. So wanting the UI UX to have buttons be present, and we can look back at past user activity on what's being clicked as far as what you need to design or develop for future campaigns and interfaces. And then also tying it back to the full buyer's journey as well.
Yeah, super important. So that's all the teams working together to make sure something comes out easy to use, looks good, has some data around it. All those things are really important. So let's break it down even more. So what makes a good user experience?
Yeah, I mean that's the good question. Like one of the first things is just anticipating, like knowing what the user is going to want. Because the problem is if they feel like, oh, this is weird. If they're thinking about the user experience, it's generally not a good user experience.
Yeah. And that's hard to do, right? It's not easy to anticipate what people have to do. And it's also not easy, sometimes the technology to make it happen to be easy to use, can seem very easy on the front side, but is actually extremely difficult on the back side. So there's simple things that can happen, but there's also some things that to make something work the way it's supposed to takes a lot of development on the backside to make it that simple. So
would you even go as far back to say that UX starts with the personas, finding the personas and understanding who's going to be using this, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I don't want to say step one, but
yeah, I mean it's a huge part of it, and we build personas every time we build a website.
Right.
We need to make sure what's the intent of this site,
right?
Who are we trying to appease, right? Who are the people that really want to see it? So that's a good point.
Yeah. With all that market research, you want to understand what your buyers' questions are going to be, and so a big part of UI UX is communication, and trying to anticipate all those questions and have them communicated throughout your user experience is really important.
Yeah, and then that kind of Aaron versus the digital stuff and getting the data from that helps us reinform, okay, what's working, what's not, and then sometimes we'll just come back into the design and into the coding where it's okay, this needs to be moved around. Or from previous projects, we can take what we've seen. Oh, the form doesn't work if we do this, or this needs this particular type of error message, or someone won't notice it. It's all reinforcing the good habits by looking at the data we have at the back end of it.
Yeah.
I think part of that market research is competitor analysis too. So B2B marketing, we're working with all these different business-to-business industries, and to get an idea of who their customers are is we look at their competitors. So we want to match that to a degree, but also stand out from them and make an impression. That's new jobs for.
Yeah.
I mean, I think setting a good goals in the end of all of this is like a huge part of why we do UI UX in the end anyways. Like sometimes that gets forgotten when people build websites. It's like we're just building a website and it's got to look really pretty, but the point of why we built this website was forgotten in the prettiness of all that.
Well,
and then nobody ever gets to the point of, hey, we're trying to get people to sign up for XYZ. We're trying to, there's all sorts of reasons why people build sites, not only for making money, but there's nonprofits that ask for people to sign up for stuff. There's all kinds of reasons a site could get built, and getting to the bottom of that drives what the UI UX experience is going to be. So I think that's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and like you mentioned too, it does come back down to the communication of having both correlate together, right? You can't have you could have good UX without good UI, but you don't want that, right? You want to have an understanding of the user flow and all that from the start. That way, when someone on the design side is implementing some good UI, hopefully, it's not just a good looking website. There is reasoning to why it is.
And some of that is like sitemaps and wireframes,
right.
all those things that we do prior to getting there is like helps to make sure that the path that somebody goes down is smooth and makes sense. Why are things bucketed into different areas that they shouldn't be in a different section? Like it would be really confusing if your blog was in the contact us section. It doesn't make sense, right? So some of that is just like, bucketing content into the right area that it belongs into. I think that's all really part of UI UX in the end.
Absolutely. It's all things that reinforce each other. You can't have the setup without knowing what the client wants. And if you've got a setup that doesn't look good, it doesn't work. It's a interdisciplinary thing.
Hey, sorry for interrupting your video. I'm Cameron, Vice President of Watermark, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about our CRM learning tool. We just developed it. It's free for you all. The link is in the description below. We're going to cover things like utilization of a CRM, automating those mundane tasks that you have to take care of every day, hitting those sales numbers. If those are things you're struggling with, jump on over there. We're going to learn together. We'll see you there.
Obviously, people have the ability with CRMs now or CMSs, sorry. I said CRMs. CMSs that you can edit your site. Like pretty much anybody now can go back and change a button, change a page, add a page, delete a page. What do you guys feel about all of that?
I mean, I'm in favor of CMSs and people being able to access their websites and change things. I will also say that it is its own discipline of knowing what's being changed and why. And I think it's great that anyone can do it, but also, if you don't have the experience in working at knowing where things should go and ways to make it work well for whatever your audience is, it can, lead to websites that are functional, but they could be a lot better and they could feel a lot better and work for you a lot better with that knowledge going in.
Yeah, so maybe some guardrails inside of the CMS. So kind of a thought that maybe a lot of people don't think about also. And that is a user experience thing, really. It's like we also have to think of the user experience on the backside of a site. It's not just the front side, it's the backside also. So dev has a little bit of, I need to make sure that somebody knows how to edit this, or I need to make sure there's guardrails so that people can't put 500 characters in a H1 that should be 10 characters, or a CTA that's got 20 words in it that doesn't make sense. It doesn't work, right?
Absolutely. There's best practices for a reason. And what we can do is help the client, help anyone else make things better for themselves, help them prevent falling into potential issues. And that's, again, an interdisciplinary thing because, I can set these rules and restrictions, but it's the design that informs that.
So as we wrap things up here, is there some pitfalls or some things that people should avoid, or any suggestions while they're starting to do UI UX?
Right, yeah. So it basically starts with doing that research on your own, of understanding from the start journey of the personas and the goals of what you want to accomplish for a user on your own website, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wireframing, like sitemap,
Yeah.
like do those things. Like I think a lot of people, get into Wix or whatever, and they're just like building a site, and then it's and then like I said, you have a blog in the contact section. You're like, well, that doesn't make sense.
It might look good, but
yeah.
it's the user experience. You're going to have somebody bounce off of that site very fast.
Right.
That is kind of the thing. It's an invisible sort of thing. If it feels good, it works. And it's really hard to notice good design because it just flows so seamlessly in. If you ever have to think about the website, then that's a good chance to be like, okay, something's wrong here. We should examine this and evaluate how we can improve that.
Yeah. I think that's such a huge thing, Marceline. I think that people neglect that more than anything else. I mean, we talk with clients all the time, and they're like, yeah, I mean, this can be something as simple as like not even just your website, but also accepting a coupon or doing filling out a form. There's all kinds of reasons. It's not even on a full website build where UI UX is so important, and you lose somebody in a split second if they don't understand how to go to the next step. So, I know we reinforce this all the time with our clients. Is like, you said it, and it makes sense in your mind because you're the one who just thought about it. But now put it in practice. You're like, well, I got to click here, and I got to click there. I got to remember this code, and I got to put that in, and I got to go to there. And it's like you've lost that person. So I think UI UX is not only. I think a lot of people think it's just in a website design and that's it, but it's not. It's way more than that. It's how somebody interacts with a shopping cart, how somebody interacts with a form, how somebody interacts with. I would even say nowadays it's like how somebody interacts with a statement, how somebody interacts with a proposal. There's a million things that people interact on the web now, and all of that encompasses UI UX. So how you pay an invoice. All kinds of things.
Right. And just hearing this, it's a lot. It's a lot to think about as an individual. So that's exactly where an agency like ours would come into play, where you have different brains in each department that specializes in that, right? So you don't. As an individual, that's a lot to do on your own, especially. So
I think a lot of clients want to add things to their website, and UI UX goes back to like creating a site that's scalable. So if you're adding content, that's where you get into a pitfall of having, deep click funnels to where you have this conversion that takes 5 clicks as opposed to having 1 click from like a click from the homepage. So having a website that's scalable where you can keep on adding content, but also have like 1 click conversion and a high conversion rate is what you want.
It even goes to your ads, right?
Yeah.
Like how you interact with an ad that gets displayed to you. It's all UI UX. So
and all that goes back to like branding too. So you want it all connected. If you're running a campaign that has messaging that's in that campaign, you also want that on your website. So having that consistency across all channels, from UI UX on your website to social media or email marketing even.
Thank you so much for watching and subscribing to the Watermark Water Cooler. We value your opinion and want to deliver the best content possible. To do that, we need your comments and feedback. What do you want to see or learn? Tools, techniques, behind the scenes? Comment below and make your idea our next video.